let's jump into it. Again, we're visto.ai. If you haven't already signed up, 5 steps to finding a tech job in Canada. So the first step is, usually when you're doing almost anything, the first step has to do a little bit with some planning, right? So the first step might sound basic, but I want you to do two things as part of the first step here. And that is, number one, realize that it is difficult finding a tech job from outside of the country. And then number two, really narrowing down on exactly what your previous experience is and what you're focused on in terms of looking for a role. So kind of the two parts to number one is, and I'll break down each a little bit more. So number one is, this is far and away the most often question I get asked, right? I get people reach out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, how do I find a job in Canada? Can you help me find a job in Canada? The reason why it's so difficult is that a company has to go through the process of sponsoring you. So they have to go through the immigration process themselves. Canadian companies are very conservative, primarily because Canadians are very conservative people. So Canadian companies haven't been as quick as, for example, US companies to try and take advantage and leverage a lot of these immigration programs. So that's a big reason why, even though Canada is very immigrant friendly, companies are still very hesitant to sponsor foreign workers, which is why this is so difficult, right? So keep that in mind, because I do want everyone to be aware that not everybody watching this video is going to find a tech job from outside of the country, but I think if you apply the other 4 steps, you'll have a good shot, at least. So what you want to do is keep in mind it's an uphill battle, which is okay. The other thing I need you to do is really get a grip on your previous work experience and kind of figure out exactly the one occupation you want to go after. So figure out your primary occupation. And this will make sense in a couple steps from now. All right. So number one, you got to get in the right mindset, right? It's an uphill battle, but if I put in work, it could help. And okay, what am I here, right? Do I have experience and education in software engineering? Am I a data scientist, et cetera, right? Because I don't know that for you. So that's pretty straightforward. Step number 2 is you're basically going to create a list of target companies. And the reason I say this is because the traditional way that a lot of people try to find jobs is you go on Indeed, you go on LinkedIn, you go on Hired, whatever, and most of the companies that are posting on there, they're not necessarily willing to sponsor foreign workers, or if you're applying through those platforms, you're one of 1,000 people applying, right? So you have to do something a little bit extra if you want to get a job from outside of the country. So the first thing you're going to do is you want to find companies that have already sponsored foreign workers, right? Because if they've done it before, there's a high chance that they'll be willing to do it again. And I'm going to tell you how to find them, right? So what a lot of people say is they'll message me on LinkedIn, hey Josh, can you help me find a tech job in Canada? And I'll say the best thing that you can really do is find companies that have done it before. And they say, okay, well, where's the list? There is no list, right? If there was a list of all the companies that have ever done it, everyone would be looking at it. And quite frankly, that list would be worth a lot of money. What you have to do is make your own list. And here's how you're going to do it. It's through a combination of recruitment companies and news articles that you can make your own list of companies that have already used the global talent stream. So 2 ways. Number one is there are certain companies in Canada that help other companies do foreign recruitment, right? I'm going to give you 2 names, all right? So first you're going to find companies that have already used I'll type it out for you here, global talent stream. If you're a tech worker, that's what you want to focus on because that's the program that they're primarily going to be sponsoring you through. You're going to look up these 2 companies. Number 1 is VanHack, and number 2 is called Global Skills Hub. All right, this is what I would do tomorrow if I was a tech worker outside of the country. What VanHack and Global Skills Hub both do, and they're great companies, by the way. They're very, very good companies. They help Canadian companies sponsor foreign tech workers through the global talent stream. So that means if you go on their websites, I'm pretty sure it's just vanhack.com and I think it's globalskillshub.io. I'll look up the links and I'll find them for you after. If you go on their websites, they have testimonials. All of those testimonials are with companies who have sponsored foreign tech workers through the global talent stream, right? So you're going to go on vanhack.com, you're going to go on globalskillshub.io, you're going to go on their LinkedIn profiles, you're going to go on their Facebook pages, all that stuff, and you're going to scroll all the way through their post history or all the way on their main page and whatever pages where they have logos of clients, and you're going to take every name down from all those companies that have hired through those companies before, right? It's almost like a cheat sheet to the companies that have used the global talent stream. There's a dog barking outside. I don't know if you could hear that noise, but hopefully it wasn't too much of a sidetrack. Now, there might be other companies that do this too. So these are the two that I know of, right? So there might be more. You could go on, the other one I would look up, actually, it just came to my mind right now, is called Mob Squad. What they do is they help American and Canadian companies set up tech offices in Canada, right? So they rely heavily on immigration and the global talent stream. So look up Mob Squad and look who they're working with, because those companies are willing to sponsor people. The other thing you're going to do is Google global talent stream in Google News. And this is something I've done personally, right? Because I wanted to make sure that these strategies I'm suggesting are helpful. If you go onto Google and type in global talent stream and click on the news tab, you're going to see a ton of articles. And what these are you want to look for the articles that are like a 2-year report of the global talent stream or 1-year report of the global talent stream, because what those articles do is a lot of them quote companies that have used the program before. So again, they're basically handing you a list. Now these articles are going to have smaller number of companies per article, but if you can find 1, 2, 3 companies per article, then all of a sudden you might have 5, 10, 15, 20 additional companies that have used the global talent stream, right? So you're gonna scope out VanHack, you're gonna scope out Global Skills Hub, Mob Squad. Heck, just Google global talent stream recruitment companies. There might be other ones, right? These are the ones that I kind of know, I've had relationships with. I know they do good work, but there might be plenty other ones out there. You want to find those and see which companies they're using. And then the other thing you want to do, go on Google, type in global talent stream, check the news section, find all the articles that have done reviews or different like news talks about the global talent stream. And they often quote CTOs or head of HRs from certain companies who have used it. So that's another a bit of a cheat right there. Okay, so that's step number 2. What you're going to do is, oops, what did I click here? You're going to take all that and you're going to compile it into a list, right? So you take all those companies, you write them down in a list. Now, how do I bump this down? Okay, step number 3. So now you have a list of all these companies that you know have recruited foreign workers before. All right? What you're going to do here is you're going to check on all their websites. So this is going to take time, right? Like I said, it's not a quick and easy task, but if you really want to get a job from abroad, it's going to take some effort. So what you're going to have to do is, hopefully you'll have a list of 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 plus companies. You want to look on each company's website, go under the careers tab, and find the ones that have openings for roles from your primary occupation in number 1, right? Because you might have 30 companies on your list, but 15 of them may not be hiring for roles that you have experience in, right? And the last thing you really want to do is submit an application where you don't even have the skills and experience, because it could ruin your chances with that company down the road when they do have a more fitting role or something like that. So what I would say for number 3 is search each company's website and find the roles that match your education / work experience / occupation from step number 1. Right? So you want to find the best fits, basically, because think about it this way. You're competing with not only the domestic workers here, but hundreds and hundreds of tech workers from around the world. So if you don't have good skills and experience for that role, you're going to have a tough job basically convincing them. So let's say you start with a list of 30. Luckily for you, a lot of Canadian companies are in need of a lot of tech workers. So maybe you have a list of 30, maybe 20 of them have roles that you are a really good fit for. That's awesome. You want to kind of like narrow in on those. So now we have our more catered list, and we're going to move to step 4. Just really quickly, everyone that's here live, is this making sense? Are you with me here? Can you give me like a quick heads up or a quick thumbs up? I'm going to take a quick sip of tea here because I'm talking pretty quickly, but I want to make sure that this is coming across clean, this is helpful stuff so far, and that it's making sense. Ooh, that's still really hot. Okay, I'm seeing some likes, I'm seeing some thumbs up. Awesome. And again, save all your questions because I will be getting to them at the very end. All right, so let's go on to step 4. So now you have your kind of custom list of companies that you know are hiring through the GTS and that you know have roles to fill that match your experience. So what you're going to do is you're going to apply to those, but you're going to do it in a slightly different way. I see a hello there. Hitesh, thanks for joining in. Sumit, thanks for joining in. I'm going to continue rolling around here. Again, get your questions ready for the session, the Q&A session at the end. Okay, so you have this list. You're going to apply, but you're going to apply in not just the regular way, right? So as I mentioned at the beginning, these companies, when they post jobs, especially when they say they're willing to take foreign applicants, they're getting hundreds, if not thousands, of applications, right? So you have to make it stand out in a few ways. So I'm going to put apply to the companies from number 3. Now, you're going to do it in 2 ways. Number 1, apply through the website with a really good resume, CV that's catered to their company, right? So there's a few ways to stand out. Number 1, you have to meet the minimum skills and requirements, right? Otherwise, it's a non-starter. But what you need to do is you can cater resumes to specific companies and specific needs, and especially if you're going to write a cover letter, you can really make it stand out. Since you've already been through their website from number 3, like when you're going through the website on number 3, what you should do is note down 1 or 2 unique things about the company, right? Maybe there's something they really value in terms of their company culture. Maybe they have a certain tradition that they do once a year, something unique to their company. And if you can reference that in your cover letter, then that's a great way to start, right? So for example, dear hiring manager, I'm applying for the role of blah at company X. I really like that, you have this flexible work policy that allows you to, whatever it is, something unique about the company, you want to point out and say that you really connect with it, or it makes a lot of sense, or you value it for that reason, or you like their product for a certain reason, something like that, right? Something to make it a little bit more personal and a little bit custom. So there's that. The other thing that I recommend that you do is you look up the hiring managers, head of HR. There's a bunch of different titles, right? Different companies have different titles. Could be head of HR, could be head of recruitment, could be head of talent, could be VP of talent, could be VP, whatever it is. Likely on the website, when you're searching in number 3, note down 1 or 2 or 3 of the most important contacts, right, that are involved in the hiring process. A lot of them might show it on their website. The other thing you can do is use this pretty cool website called LinkedIn, right? So one way or another, you want to find the people in charge of hiring on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, this Apple autocorrect, I'm not a fan of. That's why I like my Samsung phone. But that's another conversation. Find the people in charge of hiring on LinkedIn and connect with them there as well. So here's what you should do, right? Again, how do you stand out when you're 1 of 100 or 1 of 1,000? Well, you could submit your resume and cover letter and cross your fingers. But I think you need to take a step further, right? This is what I would do to take a step further. So you go on their website and you can probably see their head of HR, head of recruitment, or whatever. If you can't, or even if you can, go on LinkedIn, type in the company, and you can see all of the people who work at the company. So you can find the people who are head of talent, VP of HR, head of recruitment, even just lower level recruitment people, right? What you should do is you should ask to connect with them and make sure you include a custom invite message, right? So when you add a new contact on LinkedIn, you can just add them, or you can add them with a note, right? And you want to add a note. And just like with the custom cover letter, what you want to do is add something really personal and really kind of thoughtful in the message, right? So it could be, hey Anna, I'm reaching out because I really love your company's office design, whatever it is, right? It really connected with me, and I just wanted to connect and say that I submitted my resume and cover letter through the website, and I'm hoping to hear back from you soon. Or I'd love to hear if you have any feedback on it. I'm really excited at the opportunity of working for your company. Something like that. Because with the LinkedIn ad note, you only have so much room, right? You can't write a novel. And so you want to keep it short, you want to keep it custom, and you want to keep it friendly, right? And insightful. They're probably getting a lot of these, they probably get tons of these messages anyways too, right? So what you have to be thinking about in all of step 4 is, how do I stand out, right? That's really the only thing you should be focusing on. How do I stand out? Think about it this way. There's 1,000 other people applying for this job from outside of Canada. How do I separate myself from them, right? And I can't give you that answer because everybody's different, right? Your occupations are slightly different. Your experiences are different. The companies you're applying to are different. So you really have to put in some effort, put in some thought to that message, and give yourself the best chance at making a connection. All right, so that's step number 4. There's one step left. And what's going to happen is hopefully you're going to do steps 1 through 4, and hopefully you're going to put in the effort, and you're going to do it really well, and you're going to, have a really good resume and a thought out cover letter, and then you're going to send a nice custom message on LinkedIn, and then you're not going to hear back, right? Inevitably, a large number of these companies will still not get back to you. What I recommend is you should track all this, right? So either a Google Sheet or, I don't know what whatever the Apple equivalent is, or the Microsoft, Microsoft Excel sheet, and have company name and have, like unique value or like unique interesting thing about it, and then contact, right? Or like 2 or 3 contacts, and have their name and maybe a link to their LinkedIn profile. And then what you want to do is every 4 or 5 days, follow up, right? Now, don't follow up 100 times, but for example, let's say you submit an application on Monday, you don't hear back by Thursday or Friday. The other thing you can do in step 4 is maybe not only message them on LinkedIn, but you can also find creative ways to scrape their email, right? And send them a custom email as well. And so an email is an easy way to follow up. So I'm just going to put here, follow up politely. And we'll put in brackets every 3 to 4 days. And you'll know after like 2 or 3 follow-ups, either they'll tell you the truth or they're not answering, and at that point it might be worth it to kind of move on. But follow-ups should be similar to the LinkedIn message. Polite, quick, unique, to the point. These people aren't going to read novels. So just off the top of my head, what I would say is something like, hey Anna, I reached out a few days ago as part of my application to your company for the role of Y. I just wanted to reiterate my interest in the company because of XYZ, right? Whatever your 1 or 2 unique reasons is for liking that company. I appreciate that you're really busy and you probably get a lot of these messages, but any response or feedback on my application would be really appreciated. Thanks, John, or whatever your name is. The interesting thing with the way you frame all of this is you can kind of ask for feedback, right? You don't necessarily have to say, don't say, will you hire me? Just say, any feedback or any of your thoughts would be much appreciated, right? Because that takes a little bit of the pressure off them as well. If you're just looking for feedback, like all these people that are applying, the majority of them get rejected. And that probably isn't fun, right? A lot of these employers wish they could hire more people, but they simply can't. And so instead of making it seem like a rejection or having to take time out of their day to send you a message, if you frame it as I'd really appreciate feedback on my application or something like that, then maybe they'd be more willing to write you a quick note, and or they might really like the fact that you've followed up because it does show more interest, right? I'm sure some people do a follow up, but probably not that many. And if you follow up once and they don't respond, and you follow up a second time and you wait 3 to 4 days, follow up a second time, you never know what could happen, right? Again, still, you're playing a tough numbers game, so don't forget, step number one, like you are fighting an uphill battle. You need to understand that. But every additional follow up does give you an extra at bat, right? It is an extra pitch. You never know what could happen. Or heck, maybe they'll say something like, unfortunately, we've closed this for now, but, my friend who works at company XYZ would really love your profile. You should talk to them, right? By starting a good conversation, you never know what can come from it. So, after that sip of warm tea, quick summary, and then we're just going to move right to the Q&A. So again, number one, you have to be realistic in knowing, and I'm sure a lot of you know this by now, right? Because you've been trying to find jobs from abroad for a while. It's hard. So give yourself the best chance. Figure out your primary occupation. Like what's the best selling point about you? What's the best role that you can kind of fill? Focus on that. Step number two, you want to make a list of companies that have already used the global talent stream, right? Again, we're trying to give ourselves the best chance. So we want to target companies that have already sponsored foreign tech workers, and that's what the global talent stream is for. So you want to look up VanHack, you want to look up Global Skills Hub, you want to look up Mob Squad and other companies like those, because those are companies that have used it before, or those are companies that help other companies use it. And you can go on their websites and you could find a list of companies that they've worked with, right? And it's all public, right? It's not like, these are good companies doing really good things, and they're sharing that with the world, and so you should take advantage of it, right? You're not taking advantage of anybody. You're using that information to your knowledge. Then you're going to Google Global Talent Stream, and you're going to look in the news tab and find all the news articles that list reviews and reports and updates on the success of the Global Talent Stream, because they often quote companies that have used it. You can add those companies to your list. Then what you're going to do is you're going to have a list of however many companies you find. You're going to go through each company's website under the careers tab or the jobs tab, whatever the tab is called. And you're going to find roles that really match your role, your ideal role based on experience and stuff like that we talked about in step number one, right? Again, this whole strategy is built around the fact that you need to give yourself the highest percentage at being successful. And so you want to find the companies that have the best roles for you. Step number four, you're going to take that list from number three, and you're going the narrowed down list from number three, and you're going to apply to the companies, and you're going to make a really, really good application, right? So your resume is going to be custom to their company. Your cover letter, the first paragraph, you're going to reference something custom about each company. You're going to say something you like about the company and why they really appeal to you, not generic, something custom. You're going to find the people that are in charge of hiring at the company, either scrape their emails, search them on LinkedIn, find them on the company website. Some of them will list the head of HR, head of talent, and then look up those names on LinkedIn. Send them a custom friend invite and tell them, again, something really unique that you like about their company. Mention almost secondarily that and by the way, I applied, and I'd love to send you a copy personally of my resume and cover letter if you think I might be a good fit, something like that. Last, you're going to wait 3 or 4 days. You're probably not going to hear back from that many. I hope you do, right? We hope you do, but you might not hear back from a lot of them, and you're going to follow up politely, right? Keep it really short. Hey, Jonathan, Just wanted to reach out again because I was super excited when I read that your company does this, and I think I would be great for that role. Would love to hear any feedback on the application or if you need any more information from me. Boom, done. That's it. 2 sentences. And that's it. That's it right there. This is exactly what I would do tomorrow if I was a foreign tech worker. I'm living in Canada and I can't code, so I'm not a tech worker. So love to hear your feedback. Again, what I'm going to do is stick around for another 10, 20 minutes, however long you guys have questions for in the live chat. If you're watching this after the fact, you can comment in the Facebook group or you can send me a message personally. Or what you should definitely do is if you're watching a replay of this and you're not already part of the community, head to www.visto.ai and you can sign up for free and join the community. I'll be doing a lot more chats on stuff like this, how to find a job, how to study for the IELTS exam, PNP programs. I'm doing custom videos on PNP programs. So that's it for the presentation. Really appreciate everyone who stuck around till the end and who watched live. And there's a couple of us still hanging around here, which is really awesome. If you guys have any questions now about anything I talked about or anything express entry related, anything job related, anything Canada related, then I'm going to hang around with my cup of tea. It's got a nice J on it for Josh. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.